So hi guys, I'd like to introduce you to my interpretation of what Bruce Wayne's server would be like, The Dark Knight. So, I tried to capture as much elements as possible from the Dark Knight films, and Batman in a whole, actually, all the films. That's why you will recognize, without seeing replicas, many elements from the films. It's basically all made out of MDF, and this time I wanted to lay a lot of emphasis on recycling many parts, and so I'll start from the top here. This here, the gun, the turret if you like, or the 360-degree gun, that's what I'll be using it for at the DCMM. Here I can go right hand side, here I can go left hand side, and it does a 360-degree turn altogether. It goes around, I think, in 1 minute about one time, or point something. Actually, it's just a normal webcam here. I can also screw up this cap, and I can stick it in the back to USB, and then I've got a normal webcam. Otherwise, it's just a 360-degree camera. The rest is all made myself from plexi and diverse things here. You've got screws, and cut the grooves in here myself, you know, to give it that industrial gun type look. But it's actually all just handmade. It's driven by a very small motor. Maybe you can see it here. I don't know whether you can see it there. There it is. It's inside here. I've used the Gardena piping to secure the wire, which is going inside. And yeah, it's running with a 1.5 volt battery in the back. When I was running with 5 volts, it was much too quick when turning, so I put it back down to 1.5 volt battery. Battery's in the back, so I can actually take it out and change it if I like. Anyway, then we got the bat wings here. They're made out of plexi, but they're supposed to imitate heavy shielded iron. So that's, you know, that bat look, just like for instance on the tumbler. Then we got here bike pumps. They were actually bike pumps, and I changed them into this bat style, put these wooden parts on. Used once again Gardena elements from the Gardena sprinklers. This what you see here is actually used for tarpaulins to secure them with the rope and the elastic or whatever. I found them in a hardware store. Here I made a clasp. With the clasp I can actually take this whole front part off, or I can clasp it back in. And it's made out of birch wood, so it's very tense, and it snaps into place. Here once again we've got the bat wings. The basic chassis is covered with plastic film, sticky film, and in carbon look, so I have some type of a contrast, which also is enhanced with these chrome film, which I put on the internal parts of the bike pumps. This case is actually I can take this off on both sides. Once again, you got here the back plate as well. Then you've got here the Gardena elements. There's LEDs behind there. It's all just design actually, because I wanted to make something which I can put the LEDs behind. Here we've got one of the Elements fans. There's one on each side. The case itself inside, which can be slid inside, I can take out as well by removing this cover here. Outwards, I disconnect the wires, which are all just plugged into the front, plugged into the back, and then I can take the case out. And so there's a cutout just around about here on both sides, so that cools it. The Elements fan is enhanced with this, which is actually nothing really special. It's actually just a orange juice filter. It keeps the pulp away from the juice. And when I saw that, and together with this cone, which is actually just a part from a game, a board game, I decided, okay, that would make one hell of a good jet fan type look thing. And it worked out pretty well actually. So then we got here, this is just normal piping from garden piping, and I covered it also with a black film spray. Then I made these side guns. These side guns, they've got 3 LEDs in them. One in the bottom one here is a white one, which actually pulses, and I'll be adding sound to that. Excuse me, got hay fever. Then we got red and blue, depending on which color scheme I turn on, which I will be doing any minute now. These parts were actually the paper intakes of paper shredders, and when I saw them I thought, oh well, why throw them away? Yeah, I can integrate them somehow, and so we've got air intaking there. There's loudspeakers in these caskets here. You got LEDs underneath as well. Here, these are just dummies, but they're guns just to enhance this whole gun. This whole gun leg, which you can see with the bat wing on it, there's LEDs behind that, are actually the top part sort of from a type of shelf table unit which I found, and they match pretty well. So let's go around to the back. Here you got the Gardena elements once again, just like here as well. These are actually handles from drawers, and I made all these plates. I stuck them actually together just a couple of days ago because I could take them off till then while putting in the LEDs and things. Yeah, here on the top, that's where the CD drive is. It's inside there, and two of them are shorter, as you can see, and I'll show you when we get round to the other side why that is so. These supports I made myself. They're actually just screw rods and plastic piping, and I melted the plastic piping, you know, stuck it together, made little hinges out of plastic, angle as well, angled plastic bars, and made them on, so it gives that, you know, a little bit like that look from the tumbler as well. All these back parts, a minute, in my right hand, I can take off. They're all magnetic, so they just snap into place, as you can hear. This one as well. I take this one off, unplug the wires, which have all got just little plugs, and then I can take that off as well. Here in the back, I got one switch, which you will also see when I start turning it on, what that's for. And it's basically identical on the other side, except for the motor for the camera. Otherwise, everything is identical. Got the same system as well. There you got, I don't know whether you can see it in the camera, the dark night. Kept that dark and sinister. Didn't want it to be too dominant. Here you got the clasp and everything as well. So in the front, here I've got the faucet aeratus. I think that's what you call them in English. I'm not sure. They're actually just filters at the end of a tap pipe, which filter the water a bit, probably to keep the you know, all the little particles and dirt and stuff inside the tap without you having to drink it, I guess. I left these parts grey here because it gives a little bit of a contrast, and the good thing about it was I realized that it has a blue inlay, which is also a filter, and behind that inlay there was nothing, so I could stick an LED in the back here. So I've got one for the activity for CD and one for the activity of the hard disk itself, and I decided not just to make them blink red, but when activity is there, but to enhance the blue outline, so give it that retina type of a look. And it worked out pretty well as well, and seeing as all the lighting, the dominant lighting is blue, even though I can turn it on to red as well for the whole case. When it's blue, then that really gives it, you know, an outline of blue, just like an eye. So we've got bat's eyes there, but it's more a bit like the tumbler lights, which are up on the left and right side top corner when you actually look at the tumbler. Here I've got the sound control. I changed the knobs. I just scrapped an old active pair of loudspeakers, which I've put here in the side and here in the side there. And I decided to change the knobs. These knobs are actually just tire nozzle caps, and I painted them so that you couldn't see the left, right, left, front and everything, you know, the letters which are usually on them, and that worked out pretty well. Here these things are, these two switches are, this one is left and right for the camera. As you can see, it runs without the case actually being on. This one is to turn it on, but at the moment I cannot turn it on, and I'll show you where the safety switch for that is, so that you can turn it on or off. I can hinder that somebody turns it on or off. Here I've got an air duct intake here. Behind that there's a fan, an actual server fan. These are the buttons from the salvaged display which I found in an old case at the scrapyard. Got two switches here to turn red or blue lighting, the whole LED system on or off, and of course I've got the USB and sound in and out ports with a card reader here at the bottom. That is actually to eject the CD drive, which would come out here. So now let me see, let me put this camera on that stand and then I'll show you how do you turn this thing on. So let's go back a bit. Right then. So just like a rifle, or just like any other pump gun or whatever, you have to pull this part of the computer here backwards, and then you can actually use the on-off switch there in the front. Otherwise it's inactive. So and that's why, just like a rifle butt, here I've made this a little bit round. It's the only part which is round. Because usually I put my shoulder against it to show it, but I'll just do it with my hands at the moment. So I'll pull this back. You can actually see the hydraulics moving, and now I can turn the machine on. I'm just alone, so I have to keep moving the camera. So and now I turn it on here. So you can see it's active. There you can see the LEDs. At the moment we only got the hard disk, of course. So and now I'll slide it back to where it was. And now, and that's a secret switch, so it works pretty good. Now I cannot turn it off. So that's good when I'm out at the, you know, any exhibition or anything, so that nobody can finger it. So and then you got all the LEDs lighted up everywhere. Underneath here, in the front, I've got some secret switches with which I can change the fan color alone, but I'll leave it on blue. And for changing the whole color scheme, there, look, you can see the that's the hard disk LED. Now I'll throw out the CD drive here, and I'll put it back in now. And you see the other one also lighting up. There you go. So what else we got? Oh yeah, there you got the temperature display. The temperature display, I can actually change many parameters, especially the fans, for instance. The rear fan will turn on anyway after a certain temperature, otherwise I can turn it on myself. I hope you can hear it in the camera. It's gone on, off, on, off. But like I said, at a certain temperature it'll turn on itself anyway. So I'll turn it back off. Speaker. It's quite loud. So so now I'll show you the guns. Let me put this on the tripod here. So first of all, we got the color schemes. Here I can turn blue off, and I can turn red on. Actually, I made a mistake. I was supposed to connect this with 5 volts, and I connected it accidentally because I don't have any manual or anything, with 12 volts, and then it bust. So I had to figure out a way of lighting it up again, and there was a reflector in the top, so I just sanded off the connections for the internal LED, and I put 2 LEDs on the top, and they actually reflect in such a way that I have now red and blue. So it actually worked out quite good, even though I made a mistake. But I leave it on blue usually, because that's cooler, I think, for the dark night. And here in the back, Either I've got bottom LEDs, which are blue, probably can't see here. Whoops. There they are. Or what I'll usually be having is, with sound of course, which is not in at the moment, is the guns pulsing. So now you have to imagine those guns, those side guns, which are just like the Bat bike, the new one, actually with sound, you know, going pum 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 pum. But at the moment I don't have any sound, but that'll be coming. At the moment you can just see the clicking of the relay, nothing else. There you can see the Bat. You can also see the Bat. Only with the light you can actually see the head of the Bat. So that's just about it, I guess. That was the Dark Knight. Here are all the LEDs from all the sides. Here we got that rare fan which you could hear. And the whole thing is based upon an AIXIT, AIXIT.de case. And the LEDs in the back, I put 2 rows of LEDs. One pointing left, one pointing right, so you can actually see left, right, left, right, left, right, all the way down. That's where the wires go in, down there. Keyboard will be wireless. I'll just have these 2 wires for electricity and for the power itself. So I'll show you how the back comes off. So I'll just take this one off. I unplug these wires. It's magnetic. And this one is exactly the same. Here I've got, by the way, the intrusion switch, just like a normal regular server. And this one is also magnetic here. So at the moment I've got wires going in, so I'll just put it back. Just stuff this excess wire inside there. Magnetically holds in place. So there you go, the Dark Knight. Hope you like it. Okay, bye bye.